My name's Juicy Pat Lucy, and you're listening to episode 23 of the Juicy Details. It is still Perm month, February, which means I'm still interviewing promoters, announcers, referees, and managers. Today I have an A and an R with me, a dual podcast. A, announcer, I have Pedro Deluca here. Say hi.
Hi, Universe.
Universe. And I have a referee here. He is the senior, yet under 21 referee, Jay Clemons.
Hi, everybody.
So I have you both here. We're at Turner's Hall, well, in the kitchen of it.
Technically, we're in the bar.
Oh, the bar, okay.
We're in the bar right now.
Bar and kitchen, whatever.
I'm in the kitchen.
Okay, Jake's in the kitchen. Pedro's in the bar.
Jake is actually in the pantry. We're in the bar.
Oh, and someone...
Guest.
We have a guest? Huh?
Podcast Monsoon Classic.
He needs paper towels. We're in the pantry.
Take your paper towels.
That's just Monsoon Classic. He's not important. He's none of the things I listed. So, let's get right to the questions. I'm going to ask each of you individual questions, and some questions you can both answer at the same time, but let's start with Pedro. What made you want to become a professional wrestling announcer?
Well, I always liked professional wrestling, and because I have bad knees, a bad back, a bad attitude, and I'm old, I had to become an announcer if I wanted to be part of it, because there's just no way I could be a wrestler at all.
When did you become a fan of professional wrestling?
Way back in 1989, a friend of mine in grade school had showed me a copy of WWE magazine, WWF magazine at the time, and I just thought it was amazing. There was these guys with painted faces called Demolition, and I just instantly fell in love with professional wrestling. To this day, Demolition is my all-time favorite. I had the honor of ring announcing for them last year, and that's really got me started in liking professional wrestling. I would go to any wrestling anywhere that I could find, be it WWE, Independence, whatever it was. I would go to anything I could find, and I just happened to fall into becoming a part of AIW, which evolved into working for 17 different promotions in 5 different states.
And Jake, I'm going to go to you. What made you become a fan of professional wrestling, first off?
When I was 4 years old, my grandparents, Nanny and Pop, they introduced me to professional wrestling, WWF and WCW. I always liked Bam Bam Bigelow, which you're wearing a Bam Bam Bigelow t-shirt right now.
I always am.
And he became one of my favorites. And I attended SummerSlam 1996, where the main event was Shawn Michaels versus Vader at the Gund Arena, which Pedro has a shirt from that main event and from that show. And then I fell in love with pro wrestling after that and watched WWE. But I was actually banned from watching WWE, WWF in the Attitude Era because I would go to school and tell people to suck it and do DX gestures, and I thought I was Stone Cold Steve Austin. My parents actually banned me from watching wrestling. Then I picked back up with it in about 2003 when Christian became the Intercontinental Champion after SummerSlam, and I would watch TNA on Fox Sports after school, Channel 31.
And then later on, what made you decide to become a referee?
I decided to become a referee because I'm not big enough to be a wrestler, and I think more people should take that into consideration because not everybody's big enough to be a wrestler, not everybody's big enough to be a ref. I mean, there's big wrestlers, there's small wrestlers, there's big refs, there's small refs. I just thought that it would be easier for me to be a ref, and I was told there weren't many refs around the area, so that's what made me want to become a ref.
Now, both of you just mentioned that you two didn't want to become actual wrestlers, but fun fact, for those that don't know, you two actually had a match against each other not too long ago at a local promotion. Can we get some backstory on that? Let's start with you, Pedro.
Well, the promoter asked us to do it, so we did it. That's about all there is to the backstory. We stole the frickin' show that night, bro. Yeah, we did. No, it was just a fun little thing. I wrestled it here and there a couple times, not trained, so, but, it was just something, it was a special show, it was just a special added attraction, and drew a great crowd, had a good match, and that's really all there was to it. There's no good video footage of it, so we can't tell you to go look at it because there's no good video footage of it. So sorry.
That's a shame. Jake, your thoughts on the match between you and Pedro?
Yeah. He just says that because I kicked his ass legit. Stretched him.
Would you ever get back in the ring if you had the chance?
No. I'm too worried about what might be coming in the future to ruin something. I'm more focused on my future than right now. So, no, I would not.
Well, now, both of you are very synonymous. God, synonymous. Fuck. Synonymous. Synonymous. So, fuck it. You two are very well known for working with AIW. Let's get your thoughts about AIW, the promotion. When you first got started with the promotion, what your thoughts of how it has evolved over the years, and where you see AIW in the future, 5 years from now, perhaps.
I actually got started with AIW right around their third or fourth show. I was doing ring crew and security for them. And to see where it has evolved from being at Peabody's where you couldn't stand the stench and there was just no room in Peabody's for a wrestling show, to where we are right now where we are actually getting press in an English wrestling magazine, Fighting Spirit magazine, really building us up. It's just phenomenal. I mean, it's not... AIW will always be my home because they were the ones that gave me my start, and it has evolved into everything else. But to see where we came from, the crap hole that was Peabody's. God, I hated that place. I'm sorry for anybody involved with Peabody's, but I hated Peabody's. Thank God. But to where we are now, it's just night and day. I mean, completely different talent roster, just about. I mean, it kind of pains you to watch those early shows compared to what the shows are like now. I know even Thorne said on his shoot interview, don't watch the old shows because they're terrible. But, I mean, it is completely night and day.
Fun fact about Peabody's, the one show I went to there at Peabody's was their 50th show, 2009, and and that was a night that I remember reading on Facebook that, like, Peabody's, like, completely ripped off AIW of, like, $1,000 or something. Like, they paid them, like, $50 for the show. Yeah. Was that right?
I don't remember what the exact number was, but I mean, yeah, they ripped us off big time. I remember it was Thorne or Biggins came out to me like they gave, I think it was like $34 is what they paid. It was an insane number, and I'm just like, oh my God, the 50th show is the last show, because I mean that's how perilous it was because Peabody screwed us over that bad.
But now they're dead, so AIW has the last laugh. Thank God.
There's a lot of things dead in Cleveland, and AIW still lives on. Ooh, bang, bang.
And that's a juicy detail. Now, Jake, how about your thoughts of AIW, how you first got started, and how you've seen it evolve over the years?
My story is interesting because I was at my high school graduation party. I had just walked inside to cool off because it was a hot day, and I got a call or a text from Pedro. I think it was a text because he doesn't talk on the phone because it's 2014. It was like 2010 at the time. I got a text that said, "What are you doing Friday?" And I didn't have anything to do, so I asked my parents. I was still 18 at the time. I hadn't had my high school diploma yet. So I asked my parents. They said okay. I went up to Sandusky with Pedro for Dusk Before Dawn, where the main event was Johnny Gargano and Tommy Mercer versus Facade and Sterling James Keenan. I got to referee with JT Lightning, which was an honor, and Bruce, who is out of Buffalo, New York. I don't know if Bruce is still reffing, but I was terrified, nervous to meet everybody, especially JT. And then we did the show. It literally lasted from dusk till dawn. I believe we pulled out of the venue, the Underground in Sandusky, at 3 a.m. I ended up getting home at 5. I had to wake up to my high school graduation from Barberton High School at 7. And that was my story of how I got into AIW. And AIW throughout the years has been my home, without a doubt. If it wasn't for Chandler and John, I would be nowhere. And without Pedro, they're three of people that have helped me tremendously and always been supportive of me. I haven't been here for long, but to see it evolve from going to the first show where there was probably 6 people to now where it's over 260 people is amazing. And John and Chandler should be really proud of what they've done and what they've accomplished in Cleveland, because AIW's taken over independent professional wrestling. You need to get on board.
Now, Jay, for the last year or so, you've actually been the only ref of AIW for most of the shows, and I remember some nights you refereeing like 12, 13 matches in a row. Can you describe what those experiences were like for you, and like, are you more than happy that AIW has more than one ref now for the time being?
Absolutely, I'm happy. I love Tom Dunn and I love Dave Dawson. They're both very good referees. But I enjoyed being the Iron Man referee because it gave me a lot of experience. I believe in 2013 I had 299 matches, or 399, something along the lines of that. And it was all a learning experience, because there's experience and then there's good experience. It just has to be good experience. But I loved being the Iron Man ref, and it taught me a lot of things. It made me step up my cardio a lot, but it doesn't compare to what the wrestlers have to go through every night. They put their bodies on the line. I just count to 3, 5, 10, and 20 if we're in Mexico.
Now let's talk about influences. Is there anyone in professional wrestling that influenced you, either one of you, for what you do, as far as Pedro's, or any ring announcers or announcers that influenced you in your career?
Well, Howard Finkel will always be the man. Any announcer worth their salt will always want to be like Howard Finkel. It's ironic that I now work for Chuck Roberts, but Chuck Roberts was the original AIW. Well, Hank Hudson was the original AIW ring announcer, and then they switched to Chuck Roberts. And in my time working with and for Chuck Roberts in IWC, he has taught me so many just little nuances of the ring announcing game that you can't even imagine. Most people think you just get up there in a fancy suit and you say people's names, hometowns, and weights, but there's so many little things that Chuck Roberts has taught me over the years, like when to make the time calls, when you should ring the bell, when you shouldn't ring the bell, when you should say something, when you shouldn't say something. Just so many little things that Chuck Roberts has taught me over the years. I really owe a lot to Chuck Roberts, because he kind of took me under his wing and showed me the right way to do it, not just imitating Howard Finkel.
Good points. Jay, how about any influences in refereeing for you?
Referees on the independent scene, Tom Dunn, and also Pedro. I mean, I wouldn't be anywhere without him. That's a fact. But up in WWE or WCW, anything, Tim White was very good. Jimmy Corderas, amazing. Right now, Jason Ayers, Jason Harding, John Cohn's very good. Chad Patton's very good. Scott Armstrong's they're all very good. Charles Robinson, everybody, because someday I want to be in WWE, so I look to them and watch what they do in little tidbits. But probably the 3 would be Tom Dunn, Jason Ayers, and Jimmy Corderas, and Brandon Toll have all helped me very much, and Pedro has too, more than anybody.
All right, one of my last questions is, where do you see yourselves in the next couple years? Let's say 5 years. Let's start with you, Jake.
Honestly, people may think this is shooting for the stars, but I see myself in WWE, without a doubt. It's not me being cocky. It's just me wanting to be there more than anybody. I've tried to be there since day one. I also see myself possibly in Dragon Gate USA or Evolve, but WWE is my ultimate goal. I feel as if your ultimate goal isn't WWE in professional wrestling, then I don't know what should be, because It's just a goal that everybody should have, whether it be, if you have a goal, whether it be you want to be the champion of your local promotion, you want to go to Impact Wrestling, you want to go to WWE, you should, every night you should try to achieve that goal no matter what you're doing. But I see myself in WWE within the next 5 years.
Absolutely, I agree. No, that should be everyone's goal. I don't agree that you'll be in WWE in 5 years, but that should definitely be your goal. Pedro, how about you? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Do you still see yourself ring announcing and being in professional wrestling?
Why, is that because I'm old? Jeez, Lucy.
Choose.
But,
We want JT done.
5 years from now, I don't know if I can do this for 5 more years, honestly. I'm being perfectly honest. 5 more years, I don't know. That's my goal used to be to do 500 shows, and I'm dangerously close right now to hitting 500 shows in my career. For something to have just started out as a hobby or a dream, I've done everything that me physically could possibly do. I don't have the GQ look, so I'll never be in WWE. I have man boobs, but I don't have boobs, so I won't be in TNA. I've had opportunities in passing for bigger promotions such as Ring of Honor and CZW and stuff like that. The stars just haven't aligned for it yet. But, I am old, I will admit. This is a young man's game, and I am not getting any younger, so we'll have to see where the road takes me. I don't have an answer for that question.
No, that's a fair answer, I agree. So, well, it's time for the plugs. Where people can find you in the next couple weeks, can find you online. Jake, let's start with you.
Facebook.com/ClemonsJake, Twitter.com @ClemonsJake, Instagram Clemons Jake. You can see me tonight at AIW. Tomorrow night, February 8th, Remix Pro Wrestling, Marietta, Ohio. Sunday, Black Diamond Wrestling in Wheeling, West Virginia.
You're a booking whore. Jesus.
February 22nd, IWC in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania, the day after my 22nd birthday. February 21st, please surprise me with some things. I like fruit roll-ups. Fruit roll-up. Ben Fruth.
Actually wore that shirt yesterday.
Ben Fruth.
I literally wore that shirt yesterday.
Lights out. You can see me, or just follow me on Twitter, add me on Facebook. I usually accept everybody, even catfishes.
Yikes.
So.
Even catfishes. And my last question for you, Pedro, is I think a lot of AIW fans want to know this. Will we ever see you on social media?
Nope.
Facebook, Twitter, anything. MySpace, even.
Well, you will find me in my big comfy round chair at myhouse.com, probably drinking a caffeine-free Diet Pepsi because I'm working third shift now, so I can't afford to have caffeine. Social media is the devil.
Foosball's the devil.
No, foosball is actually kind of fun.
Foosball's
I have a
the devil.
foosball table in my basement. It's not the
Foosball's
devil.
the devil.
Of course, I do think my house is haunted, but anyway, no, I will never be on social media. Never, ever, 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 ever.
Booing from Jake. And, well, I think that's a good way to end the show. Thanks, guys, for joining in. I'm sure AIW fans will enjoy this.
Do the horn. He makes the noise, and it's like a clown squeezing a horn. He's got to do it. It's amazing. Here he goes.
Fine, let's end it. Okay. He actually did that. I can attest to that. Well, thank you for listening to episode 23, yes, of the Juicy Details.